Did you know that larger than life emotions are actually quite common in people with ADHD? A lot of people think ADHD is just a problem with focus and concentration, but it's actually a lot more than that. Those of us with ADHD often struggle with what's called emotional regulation. The point of today's video isn't so much about teaching you tips and tricks as it is giving you some more information about emotional regulation or dysregulation, as the case may be. So if you're not familiar with this concept, stick around, as in the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you all about it, because step one in learning to better regulate your emotions as a person with ADHD is simply knowing that you may have this challenge in the first place. Also, I have a free video training that you can watch, which will show you exactly how I go through step one of my 4-step framework with my clients to help them kick their ADHD to the curb the natural way. Just drop me a line below and I'll reach out and send it your way. For those of you who don't know me, hey, my name is Saad. I'm an ADHD and nutrition coach who's certified in functional therapeutic diets. In a nutshell, I help my clients reduce their ADHD symptoms without relying on medication so that they can go from frazzled to focused, get fit, and find time for fun. In my videos, I like to give you bite-sized pieces of information and strategies that you can use to show your ADHD who's boss. Hint, it's you. You're the boss. So let's talk about what emotional dysregulation is. Now, of course, emotions are subjective, so where do we draw the line between what's typical and atypical? Of course, there are times when things happen to us and it would be considered understandable to feel very intense, overwhelming emotions, but there are other times when our emotions might be, I hesitate to use the word should, but let's say more intense than they should be. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're in a coffee shop and you're trying to get some work done, and let's say the person next to you is talking on the phone. Okay, that's kind of annoying, but it's a coffee shop. It's not a monastery, right? So logically, on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad is reasonably mad in this case, do you think? I would say like a 1 or a 2. It's a public space. People can talk on the phone if they want. But if you're sitting there and you just feel like a 9 or 10 out of 10 level of anger at this, and the anger is so intense that it just floods your entire mind and you can't even think straight, it would be fair to classify that as emotional dysregulation. Or here's another one. Let's say you're running 10 minutes late to meet a friend, and when you get there, she makes a joke about how she was worried she was in the wrong place or something because you were late, but she doesn't look particularly angry. Yet, you decide that you're the most disorganized, most discombobulated, worst person on the face of the earth, and it's all you can do to not burst into tears right there on the spot, or maybe you do burst into tears. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sad should you have been in this situation? 2? 3? But suddenly you're just absolutely drowning in sadness. You can barely talk to your friend, and anything she says kind of goes in one ear and out the other because you're just off the charts bummed out, and this feeling continues all through the time you spend with your friend and on into the night and maybe even the next day, and you're still thinking about the joke she made and how crappy you feel because you were 10 minutes late. Like, you just can't stop ruminating on it. This would be another example of emotional dysregulation. So notice something here. In both of those examples, there was a trigger, right? The noisy phone conversation in the first one and your friend's joke in the second one. And this is something that sets ADHD apart from something like bipolar disorder, which many of us with ADHD are misdiagnosed with. Ask me how I know. In ADHD, the emotions don't usually come out of nowhere. There usually has to be something that sets them off, but the reaction is, let's say, outsized. In bipolar disorder, the emotions can seemingly come out of nowhere. That said, yes, it is possible to have both ADHD and bipolar. That does bear mentioning. Now, I'm not going to talk about strategies for dealing with emotional dysregulation today. We'll leave that for another time. Remember, step one is simply knowing that as a person with ADHD, it's likely that you will have these larger than life, overwhelming emotions from time to time. So that's what I wanted to leave you here with today. So if you don't know this already, the first part in my 4-part framework for reducing ADHD the natural way is through dietary therapy. And the diet that's considered the gold standard in the treatment of ADHD is the ketogenic diet, or keto for short. I've created a free video guide that you can watch that shows the exact steps I use with my clients to get them started on keto for mental health. It's free, no email address or opt-in form required. Just leave a comment and I'll get in touch and send it your way. Thanks for being here. Have a happy and healthy day, and comment below if you'd like the guide.